Two enemies who hate each other will come to the human world. They can't use magic, so they will have to adjust to this chaotic world called human society. In a distant world where magic and chaos exist, two sides were fighting. They were the demons and the humans. The one leading the demons was a very powerful person who held the position of the Demon King. Despite his power, he was unable to defeat the humans and was forced to leave in an unknown portal. That strange portal he had entered had sent him to a world where magic did not exist and technology was booming. He had come along with one of his most loyal generals. No matter how hard they try, they can't use magic. Since they were strange people, people had called the police and ended up taking them to the police station. The Demon King still had a bit of magic and makes the policeman free them and asks how this world works. He explains that this world worked with a lot of bureaucracy, and in order for them to survive they will have to adapt to this world and find a job. Mao uses what little magic he has left to be able to register as a citizen of the country so they don't get in trouble. They get a house to live in. As the days go by, Mao faints, ends up in the hospital, realizing that with this new human body he needed to eat. Several days had passed and the respected demon lord had now become a complete layabout, who was just at home wasting his time. Lately they didn't have much food in the refrigerator, and the only one worried about that was their general. Mao doesn't want to hear his tantrum and goes to work. Mao works at a part-time McDonald's. He works hard at his job, giving his best. He has the admiration of one of his co-workers. Mao and his right hand could not leave this world. They divide the work. Mao would work and his general would have to find a way to return to the world where they came from, but now this general had problems finding a way to return to the other world. Mao has a meeting with his boss. She informs him that they have great news. From now on he will be able to work full-time. Mao is happy that he got promoted, which meant more money. When suddenly a woman speaks to him, that woman knows that Mao has been using magic. He wonders who that woman is, then he realizes that she was none other than his greatest enemy, the savior of the other world. She mocks Mao for being a simple McDonald's worker. Now it was time to finish him off, threatening with a knife. Mao makes fun of her because that knife was of poor quality. Amelia doesn't want to listen anymore and attacks him. Later, they had been arrested by the police for causing disturbances. That policeman tells him that as a couple they should not cause problems and they should cut off their relationship as civilized people. Amelia explains that they are not a couple, but they do not believe anything. Leaving the police station, Amelia is angry with Mao, telling him that she will search for him until the end of time and end his life. Mao tells her that those words shouldn't come from a hero. She tells her to get her back ready and leaves. The next day Amelia is at her job. She worked in customer service. Even though she was tired of that job, she could treat herself to some culinary pleasures. She is also living a quiet and peaceful life like Mao's, getting angry about it, so she decides to go confront Mao once and for all. She had arrived at Mao's house, but they didn't want to let her in, so she wanted to cry for being ignored. In the end, they let her in. Once inside, she observes how this pair is living. They were in absolute poverty. She is angry that Mao has a companion with him, since when she had come to this world she was alone. Mao says that he has no plans to give up to conquer the other world and this one. The best way for that was to work at McDonald's, since they had a system of job promotions. She had only come to warn him that she still had heavenly powers. If he did anything suspicious, she would end up killing him. The next day Amelia had her doubts about this pair of demons, so she decides to watch them. Day after day she watches them. But this pair is not doing anything wrong. They were just living a daily life of poverty. She decided to give up watching. Amelia was tired of this situation and wants to talk to Mao, to have the party in peace, so she tells him that she is waiting for him outside of work. At night they meet. Amelia tells him, she makes him a proposal. If he stays in this world and doesn't try to return to the other world, let him live a life as a human and she won't kill him. Mao says that he will never change. He will not only conquer the other world, but also this one. When they suddenly receive attacks, as if they were shot. They run away as far as they can. Mao realizes it wasn't just any shot, but one with magic. Since they couldn't find the culprit, Mao leaves his house. Arriving home, he realizes that Amelia had followed him. Mao wonders why she was here. She explains to him in sorrow that she had lost her wallet and had no money to go home. That's why she asks him to let her stay in her apartment until the next day. Sleeping at the house of her greatest enemy was something sad for Amelia. The next day Amelia had left home. Mao and his general were surprised that their greatest enemy had stayed with them. In another scene, Shi-chan, Mao's co-worker, has something important to tell Mao. She is very much in love, taking the first step, and she asks him out on a date. Amelia is quietly at her customer service job. The person on the other end of the phone says that he knows her and knows that she comes from another world. That person can't believe that the Demon King and the Savior are together and threatens to kill them both. She wasn't afraid, she was just curious to know who that person was. Amelia receives a call from the police. Mao and his general had gotten into trouble. They had no choice but to ask Amelia for help. She gets angry because this pair of demons were useless. Before leaving, she informs him that she had received a threat that they would kill her and Mao. Meanwhile, Chi-chan was getting ready for her date. Mao just wanted to go with some random clothes, but his general asks him to dress decently. Later, they meet up. Chi-chan is happy about this date. The voyeur general was spying on Mao, but he ran into Amelia. She is curious to know what he was hiding, and that was that Mao is with that girl. He threatens that if he doesn't tell her the truth, she will kill him. The general confesses that Chi-chan had asked Mao out on a date. Amelia was curious what they are talking about, so she enters the restaurant to listen more closely. Chi-chan says that something strange has been happening to her lately. She had begun to hear something in her ears. It was a somewhat strange language, but somehow she understood. Mao is shocked to hear that. She understands that someone was using transmission magic and she was the recipient. That was very dangerous. Surely someone out of this world wanted to communicate with someone. Chi-chan trusted Mao and told him that. Now that she had Mao's attention, she wants to confess that she loves him. When Amelia suddenly appears to stop her, she says that Mao is not a trustworthy person and is despicable. But Chi-chan thinks that this woman was Mao's ex-girlfriend, so she asks him not to interrupt their date. But suddenly an earthquake had arisen and everything was in chaos. Despite the circumstances, Chi-chan was worried about Mao. Amelia tells him not to worry, surely he is fine, because they have known each other for a long time. Amelia uses her holy magic to put Chi-chan to sleep. She looks into the darkness and asks him to come out. From the shadows appears a majestic and terrifying figure. It was Mao. For some reason he had transformed into that appearance. He says not to worry, that he will get them out of this place. Amelia couldn't believe that Mao is helping them. How is it possible that a ruthless demon is saving people right now? The city was in chaos. Amelia can't help but remember her past at this moment. She had a quiet life with her father. She was the happiest girl in the world. One of the neighbors tells them that the demons are causing a lot of problems and that they should be prepared. Amelia thinks that she will be safe because she is with her father. One of those days some clerics had come to her house. Her father reveals a secret, explains that she was the daughter of an angel. Her father would have liked to live a quiet life. Amelia had been taken by those clerics to the church. Days later, the town where her father lived had been destroyed by the Demon King. She was half angel and half human, which allowed her to have unique powers. Mao tells him to wake up and that they have to go. He doesn't want to get into trouble. They say goodbye to Chi-chan. Mao explains that this earthquake was not natural. Someone had used magical powers to attack them. Mao had regained his powers and did not continue to attack him. Amelia went to relax a bit with her friend after those bad moments. The friend tells her she had seen her with that boy, asking if they are dating. Obviously, Amelia says no. The next day, Amelia went to visit Mao to pay him the money he owed her. She decides to leave. While going down the stairs, she falls. She has no choice but to receive first aid from Mao. Amelia couldn't understand why Mao was so nice to her. She always thought that the Demon King was a malicious person, but all she had seen these past few days was that Ma was behaving like a good person. That was what she wanted to know, because before he had ended her father's life in his malice, but now he was acting like a kind person. Mao apologizes, because he didn't understand humans before. When Chi-chan suddenly comes to visit, she sees how that pair was together at home. She thinks that there is something more between these two and runs away from the place. At this moment, a lady arrives to report that the place where they live will be demolished and there will be a new construction. That lady was speaking mysteriously. She explains that the girl she saw recently was a catcher. If that girl's emotions are unstable, it will cause spacequakes. In another scene, two people are on a space trip. They say that they will arrive at the certain place thanks to the receiver. Ma went to look for Chi-chan so that she doesn't get destabilized. While looking for her, a demon appears. The one who appeared in this place was neither more nor less than one of his generals. That person was called Lucifer.